Hey, welcome to Anyone Can Cook. Once again, it's your boy Jeffrey Crittenden, aka Jeff the Chef, aka Bahamas Buddy, aka Mr. Fountain, if you know me very well. What's that I hear? I hear a little tropical music. Yes, we're taking it undersea. Not all the way to the Atlantic down south, where the Bahamas is, but we're going to go up further north, where the Maine and New Hampshire and all those other northern states are. Because we're going to do ramen today. Yes, we're doing ramen. It's hot, I know it, but one thing about hot food, hot broth, they cool you down once you digest it, okay? And they're also very healthy. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do today is tell you a little bit about lobster, because that's what we're making. We're making a lobster and vegetable ramen with a lobster roll or a lobster steam bun. Yeah, we're steaming today. Not only is this used for walking it up with stir fry, but it actually is a steamer also. So let's get to business. What do we have here? Mr. Lobster. He's alive. He's alive just like me and you, and he's live and he's ready to be cooked. Yeah? Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is put some gloves. And we're going to get down to business. So we're going to use the whole broth. I mean the whole lobster. The body will be for the broth, and the tail will be for the soup. Also, I have some meat already made. I already have a lobster already cooked for TV purposes. And we're going to use that for our steamed rolls. We're going to stuff our steamed rolls, okay? So firstly, don't ever, look at him. He's ready to go. Don't ever take these rubber bands off before he is dead, because he will take off one of your fingers, believe you me. So normally when you're cooking the lobster, you can add them whole, but I don't want to do that because I want to use this body for our broth, like I said. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to twist his tail off. And I'm putting it on a platter because I want to save all this juice. This is the good stuff, okay? And then I'm going to take this knife, part of the animal agency, please forgive me, but we're hungry. And anyone could cook. Through the eyes. Turn it around. I'm going to go straight down. Now, this right here is called the coral. This is so tasty. These are the intestines and the body of the fish. I mean, body of the lobster, which is also the shellfish. Go ahead and take these claws off because we're going to steam those also. These are good for meat and of course for crab, for lobster, lobster bisque, lobster stuffing, or if you just want to eat them by themselves. Okay. So we're going to cook this off, and if you don't want to manhandle it, use a pair of shears. I just like how it feels. It was just bothering me. It was looking at me like it was tough. So here we go. I'm going to take this tail, and in order to keep it straight, what I like to do is put a spoon so it keeps straight once you cook. If you don't put anything in it, it will curl, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and cook this. And these cook for about 4 to 5 minutes. So my wife will let me know when 4 to 5 minutes is up. I'm going to also cook these. So this is the beginning of our broth. We have our body here. I'm going to use a little bit of onion. You can also use a little bit of tomato. But I'm ready. So I'm just going to show you the beginning. And then we're going to add what I have to this. Okay?
For those who just joined us, what are we making today?
Today, lobster ramen, or ramen. Or we're going to make a lobster vegetable ramen with a lobster steam roll. Roll or bun? In the Bahamas we say, oh, we got somebody talking to us. He ready moving. In the Bahamas we say roll, right?
Roll.
But it's a steam bun.
It's a steam bun.
So I got this heated up. So let's talk a little bit about lobster. Lobster is a shellfish. People say that it's fatty, but it has omega-3 fatty acids, which are the good fatty acids. It's used for your protein, and it boosts your energy level. One of the other things about lobster is it's expensive. Why is it expensive? Because it takes a long time to grow. And the eggs, they're very susceptible to danger and diseases. Another thing about lobster is it's high in minerals. Minerals meaning choline. It's also high in vitamin E and zinc. Zinc is good for your senses, and choline is good for your cells to grow. Okay, so a little bit about lobster, now that you know. Okay, so let's get busy.
Here we have some vegetables that are going to be ramen. We have daikon, zucchini, carrots, squash, corn, sweet potatoes, and we have some red kale here. Also, we have Swiss chard here. And we also have celery and limes.
Okay, so quickly, let's get down to business. With our lobster, one thing we want to do is, if you have the time, you can roast it. We don't have time right now because we're on TV, so the quickest way to roast them is straight in the pan, and all that juice and flavor, you're gonna go straight in there. Like I said, you can start off with a little bit of onion and a little bit of peppers, and just roast it. It's still alive. Facebook Live. So I'm going to add a little bit of fresh ingredients to this right here. I'm gonna add a little bit of lemongrass. I'm gonna add a little bit of ginger. Ginger is good for you. So we have our ginger here.
Is this the medium high flame or?
So you usually start it on a high heat, but right now we're gonna go slow and low and bring it up to high heat.
Okay.
Because I want all those flavors to basically massage this pot. So we have our lemongrass in there. We have our ginger. And we're gonna add a pepper. Of course, what is this? Gold pepper.
Pepper.
Yeah, baby. So once that comes up to a sear, once it starts to get brown and colored, we add water to it, a little bit of salt, and you can add any herb you'd like. And then it looks like this. This is the product after it's done. Okay, we have our onion there, we have just a little bit of tomato. And that's that for our broth. That's how we start our broth and finish our broth.
Smells delicious.
All right, we just getting started. So it's 5 minutes up? Sounds like it to me.
5 minutes are up.
5 minutes are up. Okay. So these should be done. My man couldn't even stand the heat, so he curled up by himself. Because I have these chef hands, I'm gonna go straight in. Normally you want to with some tongs. And I'm gonna actually let them cool by themselves. Otherwise you can put them in an ice bath. But because they're steam, I want them to be just right by itself because we're gonna plate it later, okay? So for our steam buns, let's get that in order. We have our faithful commercial heavy duty plus. We're gonna add some flour. This is whole wheat flour, by the way, right? Whole wheat flour. We're gonna add some yeast, instant yeast. I'm gonna mix that for a few seconds. And then I'm gonna add the sugar right away. I'm gonna add the sugar to it. Whoa.
Brown sugar, so health purposes, right?
Yes, brown sugar is always better than white sugar.
Wheat flour.
So once that gets going,
And don't forget your salt.
don't forget my salt. And also, we have some kefir. Kefir is a probiotic form of yogurt. It's healthy yogurt. It's a bit tangier than regular yogurt, and it has cultures in it, which means it's healthy. Yeah? You can use this kefir. It's actually a non-fat kefir, so it's low in fat. I'm looking healthy today. I'm gonna slow this down. I'm gonna add this kefir. As you can see, it's kind of thick because of the culture in it. And what is culture? Culture are organisms, small organisms, microorganisms that help the body. How do they help the body? They help the body through cellular growth. So when you're using the mixer, you always want to get the sides. Yeah?
Shadrick Epson says, "What's up, Jeffrey?"
What's up, Chef?
Yasha says, "Hello, Chef."
So I'm gonna add maybe a little bit more. You want to see how it goes. So we want this to come up to a ball. One small ball. Looking good, looking good. Let's turn it up. All right, we're looking good. Now this is very important. Very, very, very important right here. Because once you make a ball, you want to take it out and you want to knead it. Okay? Once it comes to a ball like this, you want to knead it for about maybe 3 to 4 minutes. This is perfect. This is what you want. And so after letting it rest for about 20 minutes, it turns into this. What we're going to do with this, let me show you.
Very nice.
We have some lobster stuffing that we're going to stuff. So I have this pan. I'm going to add a little bit of oil. Maybe a tablespoon. Add a little bit of onion. Add a little bit of green pepper. This is the basics for all of our cooking in the Bahamas. Onions and green pepper. And so with that, I also have special herbs. Special herbs. This is thyme. You keep it in the brown. If you're from the islands, you know about using fresh thyme out the bag. So while this is cooking, I'm gonna this lobster that I already have cooked. I'm just gonna open this up.
Very aromatic.
So this is cooked for 4 minutes also. And as you can see, it's still tender. Okay, it's still tender. If you want to use a spoon, you can scoop it out with a spoon. Or you can just peel it out like this. Yes, we're cooking live lobster today, fresh, straight from Maine. Okay. So to that onion and green pepper, I'm gonna add a little bit of tomato paste. Tomato paste is our base, and what it's gonna do is bind everything together. In French term, we call this pincer. Pincer means to brown the paper, to brown it. And also we're gonna add a little bit of salt Salt will bring out the water from the vegetables, also called exosmosis. I feel like I'm a science teacher right now. Exosmosis. Say that 5 times. Exosmosis. All right. At this point, we let that cook for a little bit. And we're going to add our chopped lobster to this. Once it gets nice and brown, and wait a minute, how about some flavor? Let's add a little bit of our special vinegar. Gold pepper vinegar.
Pepper vinegar. Get it.
So we're gonna add a little bit of gold pepper vinegar. Yes.
Nice acidity.
Nice acid. And since I already have this lobster stock, what I'm gonna do is add this lobster stock, just a little bit to it. There we go. And let that cook down, okay? I'm gonna add my lobster to that, lobster stock. And we have flavors and flavors and flavors.
Smelling good.
Once this reduces, we're gonna end up with this right here. This is the end product. So this is what we're gonna stuff our buns with. Okay?
Nice.
So we have our buns ready. One thing about this bun right here, I actually like the Asian style of it. It's steamed buns, it's an Asian influence, an Asian technique. What they do is they roll them out and you can steam them just like that, or you can fill them as what we're gonna do. I'm just gonna show you how to do 2. So like I said, you can knead them out, or you can just press them out. And to this, just gonna add a little bit of that lobster. Now you can make any type of filling you would like, but because we're using fresh lobster today, we're gonna go all out. A lot of people just grill lobster or they just steam lobster. We're gonna take you to a different level. So we're gonna put these in the steamer. They usually take about 10 to 12 minutes. And so while that's steaming also, just gonna wrap them right up like this. A nice small ball. And place them right there. Same thing with this one. Nice small ball. You can put a little bit of milk on top, a little bit of that kefir, just so you can have a nice shine. I want it au natural. So, what else is gonna go in this ramen? Well, we have some sweet potatoes. I'm gonna steam these for a little bit. Give me some more, just like Busta Rhymes say. Give me some more. I don't think my girls know who Busta Rhymes is. Put some corn in here. And we're just gonna let that steam. Wow, who thought about cooking sweet potato and corn on a steamer with some buns?
Beautiful.
So, let's talk about ramen. Ramen is a Japanese noodle-inspired dish. It is Chinese. It's a Japanese dish with the Chinese noodles, Chinese-style wheat noodles. Whereas you might have heard of pho, or as it's pronounced pho. Pho is Vietnamese. It's a soup. Both are soup, and they are rich in broth. Now, the Vietnamese pho, they have broth with rice noodles, like I said. and the ramen has wheat noodles or egg noodles. We're not using noodles today. What we have here is we have zucchini noodles, we have carrot noodles, and we have yellow squash noodles. I also have some daikon. Daikon is a form of radish. Okay, ramen is packed with protein, and it's normally used with fresh noodles like we have here. So you can do this at home. You don't have to use noodles. Okay. If you're looking for a keto or Atkins, whatever diet you want to use, this is it. You can use the same thing. Instead of lobster, you can use chicken. Traditionally, it's ramen is made with pork. Ramen has become, of course, not the ones in the package, which everybody uses, the college students. Yes, that's one form of ramen, but this is the traditional style. The package style is high in MSG, high in salt, and believe you me, years later you'll regret it. Okay. There are 4 major types of ramen. The first one is called the shio. The second one is called shoyu, which is a salt or soy sauce. Shoyu is soy sauce in Japanese. Shoyu, right? And then you have the miso. We're all familiar with miso soup. So miso is a soybean paste. It's basically fermented soy. And then we also have the pork, which is called a tonkot. And tonkotsu. Man, I'm getting better at Japanese. Tonkotsu. Konnichiwa. Thank you very much. And it's usually served at the end with a hard or soft boiled egg, seaweed, and bean sprouts or corn. Like I said, we have fresh vegetables here, so let's use these fresh vegetables.
So again, the fresh vegetables that we're using today, we have squash, yellow squash, we have carrots, we have zucchini, we have this white looking thing here, it looks like onions, but they're actually daikon. And we also have some Swiss chard, very delicious.
So we're gonna plate this up. Let's see what it looks like.
And don't forget our main ingredient, Mr. Lobster.
Mr. Lobster. Should we cut it up? Why not? Should be nice and cool. So where I'm from in the Bahamas, they call spiny crawfish or spiny lobster, they call it crawfish. In America, they call crawfish the smaller crustaceans, also known as crawdaddies. So as you can see, we cooked this for about 5 minutes. It's perfect, it's intact. And we're just gonna slice it on the bias. And we're gonna get ready to serve. Not dry at all.
Nice, nice. All the freshness is preserved. When you cook it just right, the taste and the flavors are there, like they just came out of the ocean.
Straight out of the ocean. So before I do that, I forgot. We're gonna build this ramen. So I'm used to eating boiled fish and grits. We're gonna eat some lobster ramen today. I'm gonna take this and chop this up. Now we're using fresh ingredients because the broth is hot and it will basically temper or soften it. Because we still want that crust. We don't want a mushy soup.
So you just chop up the kale and put it in there.
Yes.
With Swiss chard. No cooking. Because the broth will eventually wilt it.
Yes. So why don't you take a look at
Ooh,
these
that looks good.
noodles. So these are sweet potato noodles.
Those
Nice and
look-
intact. You know, straight at the bottom with this. As you can see, there's no liquid, so it's not going to make your broth watery. I'm going to go straight at the bottom with this. We're going to add our greens.
Nice.
And we're just going to build flavors because all of these fresh vegetables, all of them have their own flavor. So I'm just going to add a little bit of this broth just to get started. This is our lobster miso broth. Oh man, if you could smell this right now, this ginger, this lemongrass, all the flavors in between, they're setting a stage. So when you get a bowl of ramen, you also get a big bowl of broth, and then they add their vegetables on top of it.
Mr. Day says, nostalgic.
That's right. Take you back to southern France, where I was eating ramen by the ocean, by the Côte d'Azur. So we have our carrots.
It's beautiful.
We have our zucchini and squash.
Lovely colors.
We have our daikon. And don't forget, we have our corn. And so, like I said before, when you're finishing ramen, it's normally finished with a soft-boiled egg, and they call it a 6-minute egg. Why they call it a 6-minute egg? Because it's cooked in 6 minutes. So this 6-minute egg is going to be nice and runny. So what I'm going to do is basically put it in. And I love a nice runny egg. So we have our ramen bowl with our lobster broth, our lobster inside. I'm gonna add a little bit more broth just on top so all our vegetables get the flavor. Wow, I wish you could taste this.
Well, Nora says, please bring a bowl tonight.
This is in the Bahamas we call it spunkadocious. Has plenty spunk to it. Has plenty life to it. Once again, this is healthy cooking. And hey, don't forget, we have our buns here.
Lobster-filled steam buns.
Lobster-filled steam buns. I think we should break one open. What do you say? Let's see what it looks like.
Delicious.
So, once again, this is Anyone Can Cook. I'm coming to you live, cooking lobster. We're cooking ramen. We're cooking lobster steam buns. And you know what else? I have a little bit of hot oil. If you want to make it hot, just add one of these peppers to some oil, and they have a seed called annatto seed. You can just drizzle that right on top. So if you want to make it a little bit spicy, here we go. I think these girls are going to eat good tonight. Once again, this is Jeff the Chef. Anyone Can Cook. Check this out. This is so nice.
Beautiful.
It's summery. It's bright. It is soup. It is hot, but it will cool you down. Once again, this is Jeff the Chef. Anyone Can Cook. Thanks for showing. Let me show you how to cook some lobster. Fresh, no frozen. We have our lobster buns here. And I think I'm ready to eat. I don't know about y'all, but this looks good. Thank you. Subscribe to me. YouTube, Instagram, Chef Jeffrey Crittenden. And I'll see you next week for something special. Thank you.